Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Berwyn Shops info session. I'm just going to wait about a minute or two to see if some more people hop on, and then we'll get started.
A little bit, you have to place.
Is that good? If you probably played Forsaken on
All right, I will go ahead and get started. Thank you guys again for joining. My name is Kira Turpin. I am the coordinator for Berwyn Shops. So I will be your point of contact through the application process and should you go on to become a vendor. So this is our final info session for the season. Today I'll just go through the season expectations, what it's like to be a vendor, answer some questions and things like that. Feel free to unmute yourself as I'm going through the presentation and you can ask any questions, or you can drop it in the chat and I will try to get to them as I go along or just read them at the end. So before I get started, just a huge shout out to all of our partners. This project would not be able to happen without our amazing partners that just help us throughout the whole season, whether that's through funding, doing classes for our vendors, and things like that. So, Berwyn Shops is a retail incubator located in Berwyn. The purpose of this is to be able to give entrepreneurs the opportunity to test out what it's like to have your very own storefront in a low stakes environment. As you can see here are some photos inside different shops as well as a grand opening celebration. I believe that was last year or 2 years ago, grand opening. So we actually got inspiration from the Batavia shops, which is a similar concept of these incubators where entrepreneurs go in for about an 8 month period and test out their products and bringing it to market. So a little bit more inspiration for the shops also comes from just talking with business owners. We found that a lot of vendors are doing pop-ups in Chicago and nearby um, neighborhoods and they want to get their product out there. They want to sell outside of their house, but don't even really know where to start. And we know opening your own storefront is a huge commitment and a big venture. So this kind of gives you that opportunity to get your feet wet by designing a storefront, testing out your pricing strategies, your marketing strategies, getting to get that real-time feedback from customers is just really what this incubator is designed to do. So just a little bit of information about the 2026 season. So we're located on Roosevelt Road in Berwyn. The season begins May 1st and goes through December 20th. Each season, there'll be a new cohort, which consists of 12 small businesses. The hours of operation are Friday through Sunday, Friday and Saturday, 10 to 6, Sunday, 10 to 5 p.m. And then each shop is a 12 by 15 she shed, hut, whatever you want to call it. So some features about the shops. So each shop is equipped with your own Wi-Fi, you have electricity, You have these two French doors that are also like windows. You will get two custom signs. So one up here will be a with your logo and the name of your business, and then right here will just be the business category. So you are required to design your shop. That's kind of something that you take on when you become a vendor to build out your own shop. And then we also have security cameras on site, fencing, trash cans along the boardwalk, benches, bike racks, restrooms. So we have a pretty nice trailer bathroom that has heating and AC in it. And it's a full functioning bathroom. And that's what vendors will use. There's a key, so every time you use it, you'll have to lock the door and unlock it. And then there's also outhouses on site as well, and that's where customers can use the restroom so that you're not sharing the bathroom with strangers. However, the trailer bathroom does get shut down when it gets colder outside, just because the pipes and stuff will break if we leave it on too long. So around November-ish, that trailer will shut down, and then guests will be, and then vendors will have to use either the outhouse or go across the street to Culver's or things like that. One thing to note is that shops do not have running water inside the shops. So if you are a food vendor, you will have to prepare your food off-site and then bring it on-site each weekend, just because we won't have a place for you to safely wash your hands and prepare the food inside your shop. However, we have had people in the past bring in these kitchen grade portable sinks. So we've had coffee vendors do that. I believe a hair care like salon business has done that. So that's something you could look into, and it has worked pretty well. But that would be something that you would have to purchase yourself and decide if that's what you want to do, or if you want to just bring all your products on site on the weekend. So again, these are just some photos inside people's shops. Again, they sketched out their design, and then you get approval from us, and then you're able to bring that to life. Pretty much any design is acceptable. I haven't really said no to any design. So a little bit about the application process. As a reminder, applications are due January 4th at 11:59 p.m. You can find the application online on the Berwyn Shops website. I'll also be sending these slides before the end of the day so that you can review this and have a link to everything. So you will need to fill out the full application, including submitting your business plan. I'll talk about the business plan in the next slide. You'll have to read through the license agreement, and it is on the website, and it just entails everything that you are expected to do as a vendor throughout the whole season. You'll also have to have an EIN number, which you can obtain for free. Again, the link will be on our website. And then you will also need to submit high resolution products, photos of your products. So just a little bit more about your business plan. If you haven't ever created a business plan or have one already, we do have an outline of what a business plan could look like that you can follow this structure. You do not need to follow this. You can take things from it and create your own, or you can follow this to a T. It's really up to you, but this is just for you to see what business plans have in it so that you can create your own. If you need help creating a business plan, our partners at the Women's Business Development Center offer free one-on-one sessions where you can either get your business plan reviewed before you submit it, or they can actually help you with the creation of your business plan. This outline provided is an outline from the WBDC. So that is an option available to you. So a little bit about the selection process. So once the application closes, we send all the applications to the WBDC, and they review applications, and then they send us who they believe are top 20 candidates for the Berwyn Shops. From there, those top 20 candidates are invited to participate in what we call Shark Tank Day or Vendor Pitch Selection Day. This is where you will pitch your business. You have about 5 minutes. You'll show your products, pitch your business to our jury committee, which consists of 13 community members, business owners, Berwyn stakeholders, who will help decide who are the final 12 that will go into the shops. Again, you get about 5 minutes, and then there's a question section at the end where they can ask you questions for about 2 minutes or so. You'll be able to show your products. If you're a food vendor, you can bring samples for people to test out. One thing that's new this year is we will actually be having a vendor pitch day workshop. So before you even have to go pitch, you will come to this workshop and kind of practice, go through what you want to bring, some helpful tips, how to display your products when you are pitching and things like that. So if you're worried about vendor pitch day, there's nothing to worry about. You will have the workshop to kind of flush out all your ideas and just help you be best prepared for when you do pitch. And then the finalists from there will we will let them know if you've been selected into the cohort. And then this is just a picture of what vendor selection day looks like. So a super small group, super easy, everyone is super nice. So some shop vendor responsibilities once you are selected. So like I mentioned, you will need to customize your shop's interior to match your brand's identity. So there will be some products, not products, but some items left over from the previous cohort in your shop that you're more than welcome to use. There might be some shelving, there might be a desk, the flooring might be different. So once you are selected, we kind of go on site as a group and everyone gets to rank which shop they want, whether that's the color, whether that's the items already in it that will go with your brand. You'll be able to rank that, and then from there, you'll design what your storefront will look like. We do work with an interior designer who will have an interior design class all about just the functionality of your shop, how you should display things, and kind of what your shop could look like. So that happens before the season starts, and then from there you'll submit what you want your design to look like. You will also need to obtain a Berwyn business license. This is something that we assist you with. It's about $50, but it's just a one-time cost and it lasts throughout the whole season. You'll also need to secure insurance for your shop. So again, this is something that we help you with. We have companies that we have worked with that I can recommend to you. And we have an orientation where we go through all of this. And then again, you'll have to attend orientation and submit your marketing material because that will be used for your personalized sign on your shop. And then you will also need to sign the license agreement, and that will be done at orientation. So again, I really recommend you to thoroughly read through the license agreement before you even apply, and just make sure you get a full understanding of what is expected of you as a vendor going into the 2026 season. So some project expenses, the rent for the whole season will be $4,000. So that'll be $500 each month, starting at the beginning of the month. So on the 1st, it's due. And then $75 per month for our common area maintenance fees. So that's the Wi-Fi, electricity, the water, things like that. So you'll owe $575 at the beginning of each month. The Berwyn business license, $50. Again, we will assist you with that, and we'll do that during orientation. And then any additional permits. So if you're a food vendor, you'll need some additional permits, and things like that. And then insurance, and then any equipment or appliances you may need. So again, if you're a food vendor and you need a refrigerator, and things like that, then that is up to you to secure. We have had some vendors in the past look into renting these things. So if you need assistance in that or some recommendations, I can try to help you with that, but that would be up to you to secure. So other vendor expectations, you are required to be there every single day the shops are open. So Friday through Sunday, your shop is expected to be open. You can have people watch your shop. You can have, family members. You can hire an intern or an employee to work your shop. That is totally fine, but it does need to be open. We do, I mean, there are exceptions. I mean, if you're sick, if there's an emergency, things like that, I'm a reasonable person. So, you'll just have to communicate that with me, and I will have to know ahead of time if your shop is going to be closed and for what reason. Um, you will be required to host 3 special events on site. We have found that when you host events, it brings in more foot traffic, which ultimately lead to more sales. So we really encourage and require events on site. Some of those events are just different depending on your business. We've had some cake vendors do cake decorating classes. We've had a scrapbooking event. We had a karaoke on the boardwalk. So any special event that you think aligns with your business and that also the community would want and would bring in traffic to your shop and ultimately the full boardwalk. You will also be required to act as site manager when assigned. So everyone will have like 2 to 3 times being site manager. So what that looks like is each weekend on Friday, you will have to make sure the gates unlocked. You'll have to put the open flags out, coordinate taking the trash out and who's going to do that, and just making sure the boardwalk is presentable. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that will be your responsibility as site manager, as well as taking attendance and making sure that every shop is open, because it really doesn't work. The whole just shopping experience doesn't necessarily work unless all the shops are open. So holding vendors accountable of when they're open and making sure that everyone is there on time is kind of what the site manager will be responsible for when it's their weekend. It, it could also be beneficial for you to maybe host your event the day that you are a site manager, because sometimes when you're site manager, you might have to stay a little bit later just to make sure everything is locked up and stuff. So it might make sense to do your special event that weekend. Again, it'll rotate. So it'll go through all 12 vendors and then back to number one. And even though you're site manager, there'll still be vendors that will help you out because I'm sure you'll want help when you're site manager, so you'll help someone out when they're site manager. And then you also report any issues to me should anything arise. If we're out of any supplies, if there's any issues on site, you'll be responsible that weekend to letting me know so that I can handle that accordingly. So just going through some frequently asked questions. Are co-ops eligible to apply? Yes. So if you and your friend have business together or you guys want to go into business together, you guys are more than welcome to apply and be in the shop together. If you, I don't know, sell candles and you think that if you had a little section in your shop that was soaps or perfumes, you think that would complement your business really well, you can also have someone, like rent out a portion of your shop and they can pay you to sell their products out of there too. That can definitely work. Food related products can be sold at the shops, but again, there's no running water. So everything that you sell will have to be prepared off site. Will I have access to my shop during the week? Yes. So this is a retail incubator, and this is a program where you'll be able to do business trainings and learn and grow your brand. But ultimately, this is also your storefront for 8 months. You're paying rent. This is your space. You're going to design it. You're going to sell your products up there. You can do content outside of social media, or you could do a podcast there. Like this is your space. If you have special orders that people want to pick up online and they want to meet you there throughout the week, that's totally fine. You'll just be responsible for making sure the gate is, locked behind you and things like that. But yeah, you definitely have access to go in your shop throughout the week to do content, to restock. whatever, that is your space, you pay rent, it's your storefront for 8 months. Who can operate my shop? So like we talked about earlier, you are required to stay open when the shops are open, but you can have somebody watch your shop, like an intern or an employee. However, we have found that businesses do better and sell more when the owner is the one watching their shop. I would just put it this way. I would say that nobody can sell your product. No one knows your brand like you do. And so some people, if they don't have a stake in it, they might not care to go above and beyond. Um, so I would just think about that when you're deciding if you want to have someone watch your shop or have an employee. Um, if you do, I would just really train them well. I would shadow them one day and just have them, hey, pretend like I'm not here. I want to watch you, like how you run the store, because that will really make a difference. And I do see the difference in sales between a vendor who is the primary owner who's at the shops versus someone who has an intern who they're just paying. Um, so yeah, that really does make a difference. And if you are going to have an intern, I would just really train them very thoroughly. I'm going to have processes in place on how you want someone to represent your brand. Um, Also, if you do have someone watching your shop and it's your weekend to be site manager, then they are required and responsible for being site manager. So you would also have to train them on what that looks like. And then how else can I get involved? If you think that maybe this year isn't for you and you're not quite ready to apply, but you still want to be involved, you can apply to be a jury member. We're always looking for members to be a part of that 13 person panel where you'll be able to listen to the vendors, their pitch, and kind of the different businesses and decide who will go in this cohort. So that is all I have from you, but I want to open the floor to anyone who has any questions. Feel free to unmute yourself or drop it in the chat, and then I will answer it. Any questions?
Hi, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
So what do you feel have been like the biggest challenges that the shops have faced? And how do they differ from like this year versus other years, if any?
Yeah. I would say some of the challenges are, in general, people aren't shopping as much this year as they have in the past, just because everything that is going on. So that was something that this cohort specifically had to kind of overcome and figure out ways how to bring people into the shops. I would say the events really helped. So I would, in asking someone to come to your store and shop, leave their house when they're used to buying stuff online from you, that could be like a challenge and a hurdle to overcome, mixed with people just aren't spending as much. You try to find ways to get people just in the space, having different touch points with your brand. So if you're hosting events, maybe they'll come out for that. Maybe they're not necessarily shopping this time, but now they know, oh, I have this, and my sister's birthday is coming up. I'm going to come back for that. So just getting people in the space, even if they're not necessarily buying this time, has been something that has helped with kind of people not shopping as much. I would also say there are slower months. So I think July is the slowest month in retail. Um, June or July is the slowest month in retail just in the US, which is why actually Amazon did Prime Day, because it was kind of encouraging people to shop more during those months. So that again, doing like sales during those slower months to encourage people to come in has definitely helped with that. But I would just say knowing that not every month will be like not every month will be as crowded as maybe the holidays or when at the beginning of the season. I would say that November, December are definitely high traffic months. Same with May and June, but then like July, August can kind of slow down a bit. Yeah. So just getting people there when it is the slower months. And also I really encourage people to collaborate with each other, whether that's through social media or events, or even just when people are on site. So if someone is, there's a coffee vendor and someone's buying a coffee, and that coffee vendor can be like, hey, my coffee goes really great with the muffins across on the shop next door to me, things like that. So like just collaborating as a cohort because you guys are stronger together. This is a really cool shopping experience that customers kind of come and want to shop and see all 12 vendors. That's kind of why I mentioned earlier how it doesn't work when one vendor isn't open or two vendors isn't open because people come for that full experience. So just really working together to collaborate on different events and content has really worked well for vendors.
Thank you. And I had another question.
Yeah.
Um, so can you pick a day for your special events that you host, or are they assigned?
Yeah, so that is totally up to you. You can pick the day. I need them submitted. So there'll be like a form that you submit on what your event is, how many people you're expecting, any of the marketing graphics, things like that. And I just need them in like 3 weeks to a month before your event, just so that we can have a decent amount of time to promote the event. So as far as that, as other than that though, you can totally pick the date, and you can even do things after hours or before hours. We've had a salsa and sangria class before. So it was like mocktails, and then we had a salsa dancer instructor come in, and that was after the shops closed, and it was really pretty with like the lights and stuff. So yeah, you just have to submit the request, and 9 times out of 10, it'll get approved.
Okay.
And
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 that could,
then,
I'm sorry.
oh, no, go ahead.
And that could be also, you could host an event during the week as well, or does it have to be um, like those days, the Friday through
Yes,
Sunday?
you can host an event throughout the week, but I would say that it wouldn't necessarily count towards your 3 required events. So the 3 required events would have to be like during open hours because we want to promote and get people to shop with all the vendors. And then anything, and you can do more than 3. So like if you do something throughout the week, that's just, if you do like I don't know, like a scrapbooking night on the boardwalk or something, like you could definitely do that. But again, you'd be responsible to make sure like the gates are locked, making sure that you know who's registered for your event, and things like that. But I think it works probably better when it's open, or at least more people will more vendors would be inclined to leave their shop open an hour after the regular shopping hours for your event, as opposed to like coming in on a Wednesday. But you never know. So you can do that for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then I see a comment or a question in the chat. It says, as far as design, are the vendors paying for the layout outside of special needs like refrigerators, shelving, products, desks, etc.? Yes. So everything that you're putting in your shop, the layout, if you want carpeting, shelving units, anything like that, that is an expense that you will be paying for. Um, there will be some items left over from previous cohorts. Um, Typically, we do give a stipend of about, it's a small amount, like 200-ish dollars, that you can use to buy something for the season, but then that item would have to stay since that it would just be like a stipend for that. That item would stay, you would be able to use it throughout the season, and then it would stay once you leave. But anything outside of that, it is your responsibility to build out. If you haven't, I would encourage you to go to the shops. We have this weekend is the last official weekend where all the vendors will be on site. Next weekend, we have some vendors going to be open, but this weekend is the last required for all of them. So I would try to make a trip down there, out there, and just see what it looks like in person, see how they designed their shop, see kind of what you would want your shop to look like and how you'd want those shelving units to look like, would you want carpet, would you want new flooring? Because that is an investment. And yeah, you would need to have like that would be up to you to purchase those things. Any other questions? Well, if there's no other questions, I will send these slides to everyone along with some other helpful information. Um, there's another comment in the chat. Yeah, there's another comment in the chat. It looks like someone wants to offer their services if you want to read that real quick. But I'll send these slides to everybody as well as some more helpful information before you submit your application. If you have any other questions or want to walk through anything, if you need help submitting the applications, you can reach out to me and I can definitely help you with that. We can meet one-on-one if you need any additional assistance. But other than that, I thank you guys all for joining me, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.